Hi, I'm CJ. This is going to be a video about how to start modding with NeoForge. If you're interested in writing your own mods and you want to do that using NeoForge, this is the video to watch. We're going to start with setting up your environment. This is what you need to do first before you can do anything else. Now, these videos assume some background in coding, specifically Java. If you don't have that, it's going to be a lot harder to follow. You probably still can make your way through, but it's going to help. First of all, this whole thing is going to be following from the NeoForge docs. It's a great tool. It's what I'm going to be following. And if you have any questions, the first place to start is on these documentation pages. I'll put the link in the description. So one thing you're going to need is the IntelliJ development environment. That is offered for free, at least the community edition by JetBrains. So you can download that here. That's going to allow you to edit your code and just manage your workspace in general. And then Java, you need the Java development kit. You can install that through IntelliJ, so we're not going to worry about that too much now. Now, the first thing we're going to want to do is clone the NeoForge template project. This is a repository that has some basic structure that you can just swap out what you want for your mod. This is on the NeoForge documentation page, and if you go to setting up the workspace, we're following it for Minecraft 121.4. But this will probably be fairly similar for future versions and past versions of the game. But if you want to change that, you can always go back in time and look at the other versions. So I like following the mod dev Gradle. It'll bring you to the GitHub page, and you can download this zip directly, is what I like to do. Now, if we open the zip file that we just downloaded, inside it there's another folder, and inside of that we have the basic structure of our example project. What you want to do is extract these content into a new folder, which will be the home of your mod. Now that we have our template project in place, we can open up IntelliJ and start editing the project. It's what I recommend using for this, although you can also use Eclipse. This tutorial is going to cover using IntelliJ. So this is the main menu. We can hit open and locate our folder that we just created, learning the ropes, and click the build.gradle project. That's where you want to start, and press open as project. What this will do is import the project and begin the necessary Gradle processes to set it up. This includes downloading any relevant mappings and other libraries that are used. This may run for a little bit. Just wait until you get the green light on everything and this process finishes, and then we will proceed to the next step. One important thing to note here is that you have to have downloaded and run the version of Minecraft that you are targeting at least once through the regular game launcher before you can import this project and have it work. Now we're going to go over a few of the files in the example project that are relevant to you and what you should know about them. So the first one is Gradle.properties. Here is where you're going to set all of the metadata and important build settings for your mod. Right at the bat, most of this should be set up for you by default. That's the advantage of downloading this example project. We see our Minecraft version is set. The acceptable version range is also set. This is so that when a player boots up the game with your mod, it can tell them if they are targeting the correct version, or it can throw an error if they're targeting some version that is outside of this range. The NeoForge version, if you want to update the version of NeoForge used in the future, then you want to change this string. For now, we're going to leave it as is, as what is specified in the example project, but for any newer versions, you can go to the NeoForge release website and find the version and update it here. Now, the bottom section here is going to be information specific to your mod. Right now, it's filled out for the example mod, so we're going to go ahead and change it. Assuming you've decided on a name for your mod, we can update our mod ID. This is the unique identifier for your mod that is internally used. Whereas the line below it is the mod name, and it is the player-facing name for your mod with all the spaces and capitalizations. I typically like to use a really basic string for the mod ID, because you're going to be using this a lot throughout your code. The mod license tells what people are allowed to do with your code, and I'm going to go for the MIT license. You can leave it as all rights reserved, but for my purposes, anyone can do pretty much whatever they want with my code here, so I'm setting it as MIT. The mod version, this is your versioning for this release of your mod. So you can start at 1.0.0. If you want to learn more about the syntax and standards used for versioning, it is using semantic versioning. This link here has more information. We're going to leave it as is for now. The group ID for the mod is another important identifier, and presumably this should link to a website that you actually have. I don't have a website, so I'm going to set it as my username and my mod. This is the author section. You can specify any credits you want to give. We'll give credit to me, and the mod description. Now let's try to understand the file structure of our NeoForge mod. The first relevant folder is the source folder, src, in the root of our project. If we open it up, we have a main, and then within that main there is Java, and there is resources. Now this is separating out the actual assets for your mod, which live under the resources folder. These are things like translations, sounds, textures, etc. These tell information or game assets, and that is separate from the files that live inside of the Java folder, which is, as you might guess, your code. So your .java files live there, and the resources contains the assets that belong to your mod. If we open up the Java and resources folder, we'll see folders inside of them that refer to the example mod. So we're going to remake these, but pointing towards our new name. So we're going to call this new package Real24.learningtheropes. Now we can select both of these files and move them to our new package, hit refactor, refactor anyway, and delete the old example mod folder. Both of them. We're going to do the same thing for what's contained within resources. We're going to call it Grill24 Learning the Ropes. And make sure you use forward slashes when creating that new folder instead of full stops, because otherwise it will not create nested directories. It will just make one folder with that giant name. Again, we're going to move our localization file into there and delete the old package. So in the package we just created, we have the config and example mod. These are great for looking at how the NeoForge instructions tell you to do things, but for this tutorial, we're going to start from scratch. So we can start by just deleting both of them. And in their place, we will create a new class with the name of our mod as its title. Call it Learning the Ropes. Now we have a blank class. The first thing we're going to do is write down that mod ID as a string. So we're going to do a public static final string called mod ID with learning the ropes as the contents. Now this should match exactly with what you have previously put in your Gradle.properties, and it's how your mod will be identified to NeoForge. Importantly, we also need to add this @mod annotation before the declaration of our class. So we'll call @mod, and it expects to take a string. So we are going to put in our mod ID right there as what it takes. Awesome. Now next we need the constructor. NeoForge expects a constructor that takes two arguments, the event bus, we're going to call that event bus, and the mod container. We're going to call that mod container. Now just create a blank constructor here, because we don't need anything at the moment. This is enough to run a very basic mod with no contents that just identifies itself as learning the ropes. And that's where we'll stop for this video. I'm going to launch the game just to show you what it looks like. If you want to start actually adding blocks and items, click ahead to the next video where I show you how to do that. If we look in the top right hand side of our IDE, we should have a drop down with run configurations. When you imported this project into IntelliJ, it should have created 4 run configurations. The 2 we care about right now are the client and server configurations. These are what allow you to actually run the logical game client and the logical server. For now, we will just hit the client and then run it. And as the game launches, we will be able to see the basic mod that we have created. Now, all of the code for this video is going to be on my GitHub. You can follow along with the specific branch for this video. If you need any help, please leave a comment. I'm happy to answer any questions. If we go to the main menu, the mods button right here, we'll see Learning the Ropes with our description, our credits, and our name. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more.